Good evening and welcome to News 2. Here's what we have for this evening's program for this Tuesday, March 6th. The Federal Reserve visits the Virgin Islands. UVI cites their online degree concerns, and we have a mental health forum. This and much more in tonight's news. Good evening and thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Leslie Comisiang. I'm your host. We have a fantastic program scheduled for you this evening. We hope you stay tuned. We'll be right back after these words from our sponsors.
Six months have passed. Seems like the island's getting back on its feet in the sense that the roads have been cleared and the some of the buildings have been patched up. I mean, obviously you can tell that a lot of these repairs are temporary. I mean, the roofs are, they're good for like a season, and obviously those roofs need to still be repaired. But it feels like the islands are getting back on its feet. The cruise ships I saw are in the port, so that's all good. But what's the biggest concern going forward? We know that the island has some budgetary issues in terms of, pretty high debt levels, pension funding issues. So I just throw it out there in terms of what do people think are the things that are, if you had a wish list, what would your wish list be?
And so it's like the system was already so stressed before. These two storms just knocked its two legs out.
I don't have a list, but I think the real issue is how do you create an entrepreneurial culture within the Virgin Islands that will diversify the economy so we're not just so dependent on tourism and refinery. We've started an entrepreneurship program at the university so that students come through and not just looking to get a job, but are being exposed to how they become business leaders.
And right before the storm, there was a woman on the street that I ran into who had gotten here right before in August. I had no idea. I mean, she did have ID, but she was clearly homeless and clearly mentally ill. And she showed up, and
she's just from the mainland.
From the mainland. This one from the mainland.
But after the hurricanes, you did see an increase in folks from other islands.
Yes.
That's interesting.
The opportunity for nonprofit organizations, the University of the Virgin Islands, and other business leaders to have the ear of the president of one of the Federal Reserve banks is quite an enormous one. While the Federal Reserve Bank serves as the central banking system for the United States, it sets the economic policy and actually sets the tone of the overall United States economy. And so having someone of that nature here in the Virgin Islands is quite an opportunity. What I heard this morning in the meeting that took place was the traditional concerns that we have and the fact that a lot of people are concerned about our plan moving forward for the territory. We've basically stabilized now, with today being the 6-month anniversary of Hurricane Irma. But now it's time to rebuild the Virgin Islands and pick a new direction for where we want to go. Diversification of the economy was certainly a concern with some of the organizations. The human effect of the storm was a consideration by some of them, and others were just worried about the economy. Right now we have a lot of guests here, a lot of money being spent by individuals that are contractors and the federal government, but when it all goes away, how do we sustain a healthy economy in the Virgin Islands? And that was voiced over and over by some of the nonprofits. We thank them for all the good work that they were doing. All three islands were represented very well this morning. And thank you to all that were responsible for this very important forum. We have a story coming up next about UVI online degrees.
The University of the Virgin Islands is launching their online degree program in 1 week. UVI has been working towards providing online degrees for several years through a service agreement that provides technology and academic support with level playing field. 15 online programs will allow UVI to reach more learners. The 15 online degree programs will be offered in the colleges of liberal arts, science and math, as well as information technology.
The university has been offering online courses for quite some time, and as you may be aware, we've been offering video conference courses for We are, trying to make it more accessible to individuals, and we're also trying to broaden the market reach of the university. There are individuals whose lives are such that they cannot build their lives around our schedule. So online education is a way for us to build education around the lives of people, especially those who are working, especially those who are in the military. And that was a major focus for us, which is how do we get educational resources that UVI has to offer to more people.
The fact that the University of the Virgin Islands is now offering online degrees is another major step for the university and a major opportunity, quite frankly. The ability to earn dollars from students that may not be in the territory is a good one, considering that the university gets 50% of its funding from the government of the Virgin Islands, which we know is not at its best right now. The ability to attract new funding to the territory is also important, but most of all, this is an opportunity for students that may not have the ability to fit into traditional schedules. So offering this convenience to students is an asset for the university. It diversifies its offerings even further and hopefully will attract more students to come to the university. So stay tuned and keep an eye out for those new courses and new degrees that the University of the Virgin Islands will be offering. We have a story coming up on mental health in the Virgin Islands right now.
One of the presenters at the Mental Health Forum at the Cardiac Center today, March 6, 2018, will be the Department of Health's Division of Mental Health, Alcohol, and Drug Dependency. At the Mental Health Forum, this division will provide information to the public about the services offered through the Department of Health.
The services we provide are a wide variety. We do individual, group, family counseling. We also provide substance use disorder counseling. On St. Croix, we provide opioid treatment. So if individuals are having challenges, whether they're abusing prescription drugs or heroin or any other type of opioid, they can come to us for treatment as well.
The division has been engaged with community-oriented mental health services in the wake of the hurricanes.
So since the hurricane, we've been having a lot of requests to come into, like, say, the fire station, the schools, and other places to provide group counseling and workshops. One of the most exciting things that we've done since the hurricane is that we've launched our crisis counseling program, which started on November 20th. And so far, the crisis counselors have seen a little over 9,000 individuals in the territory. We're doing this in partnership with Island Therapy Solutions on St. Croix, Beautiful Dreamers in St. Thomas, and Lutheran Social Services is also partnering with us for the management piece. So we have crisis counselors that have been at the disaster recovery centers, and now they're actually going door to door. So we are asking people to listen out on the radio for the schedule so they know when the crisis counselors will be coming to their area and provide support as well as educational materials.
The mental health of our community is extremely important and often one of those subject areas that goes neglected, or a lot of us just don't like to talk about it. But let's face it, we've all been through some very traumatic events recently, and seeking mental health, while it may be taboo for some people to talk about, is very, very important. The fact that the Department of Health has offered crisis counseling and has seen over 9,000 individuals, quite frankly, is great news. The group and family counseling services that are available, as well as substance abuse counseling, is much needed. As we know, sometimes people turn to substances to help them cope with the stress that life has to offer. And like I said before, let's face it, this has been a tough couple of months for us. These services are available through the Department of Health. If you or a family member or friend needs them, please feel free to reach out to them and take advantage of these free services for the community. We have weather coming up next.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your day today. The weather is great. It's just the ocean. The ocean is still pretty rough around here. We're seeing very strong rip currents and very large waves, so not the best conditions for swimming or for boating. But as far as the weather, we did see a couple of clouds in places, maybe a stray shower or two. That's how it will look tonight, maybe a shower in spots. Some people will stay dry. We do have this cold front that's moving through to the south of us, and that's creating some wetter conditions in the windwards and leewards, but that is far away from us. So taking a look at the temperatures tonight, down to 70. Not bad. Partly cloudy conditions. Tomorrow in St. John, expected to be warm and nice, 81 degrees, and we'll have plenty of sunshine to enjoy. In St. Thomas, again, 81 degrees, mostly sunny, and in St. Croix, 83. So it's going to be nice and warm. And again, we could see a very brief shower in spots, but mostly staying dry. Now, we do have a small craft advisory in place. This is through Thursday night. The waves 10 to 12 feet and the wind out of the east from 10 to 15 knots. So pretty strong, choppy ocean there. And the same thing for the Caribbean side. Small craft advisory in place through Thursday night. Waves 8 to 10 feet. The winds out of the east at 10 to 15 knots. So be careful. Now, over the next couple of days, we're going to see an increase in the trade winds. Nothing major, but that is going to increase the frequency of our trade wind showers. So a couple more clouds popping up and a couple of showers. Now, by Friday, it's going to be on the humid side, and it's going to remain humid through the weekend. But the good news is, over the weekend, the waves, they're going to be much calmer. So if you're hoping to hit the ocean and the boat on this weekend, you should have some pretty good conditions. Have a great evening.
Gretchen C.F. Shepard, the United States Attorney for the District of the Virgin Islands, informed that 27-year-old Devon James of St. Thomas pleaded guilty in district court to one count of conspiracy to commit Hobbs Act robbery. The U.S. Department of Justice stated that Davis was the last of 7 men charged with Hobbs Act robbery of the Gems and Golden Corner jewelry store on St. Thomas. According to the indictment, Davis was a member of the robbery crew that conspired to rob the store. Davis' co-conspirators entered the store and brandished a handgun to threaten the store owner before fleeing with merchandise. Davis drove the getaway vehicle. Other members of the conspiracy, Ron Delano Kuntz, Keon Wilson, Sean McIntosh, Shaquille Correa, Jermaine Ayala, and Wahili James have all been convicted and remain in custody of the U.S. Marshal Service pending their sentencing in May of 2018. Faces up to 20 years in prison on the conspiracy count. Judge Curtis V. Gomez remanded Davis into the custody of the U.S. Marshal Service pending his sentencing on July 5, 2018.
We usually don't like to mention the names of individuals who have been involved in committing a crime in the community for the fact that we just don't want to give them additional publicity. But in this instance, it's important because it sends a clear message to our community that when you do commit a crime, you will be caught, prosecuted, and that you will pay for the crime that you've committed. I think our community wants to see more of this. It serves as a deterrent for other criminals and to let them know that law enforcement is on the job. We can do better, however. There are far too many crimes in our community that go unsolved, and it serves as an impetus for others to commit crimes as well. But in this particular case, good work to all involved, and we hope that it does send a clear message to criminals out there that this kind of activity will not be tolerated. We have a story coming up about the Army Corps of Engineers. Stay tuned for more.
With damages to shoreline structures as well as boating and aquatic equipment, Virgin Islanders can expect to get extended permits from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. According to a statement released by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, they've extended their expedited emergency permitting procedures in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands to support the continued recovery efforts following Hurricane Maria. These alternative procedures will remain in effect until June 21st, 2018. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers have responded to 111 actions resulting from Hurricane Maria, including heavy rain damage in Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Some of the actions taken were to address shoreline damage, deposition of sand and other materials in waters and wetlands, damage or loss of structures in navigable waters, and other related effects. Of these 111 actions, many required emergency permits for bank stabilization, dredge, roadway repair, dock repair, and debris removal. Emergency requests may include roadway repair, transportation repair, shore stabilization to address erosion, dredging shoaled areas, repair, rehabilitation of in-water structures, debris removal, derelict vessel removal, and oil or hazardous material cleanup.
This is another example of our federal government being an assistance to the community when we need it most. There's no question our natural resources, our marine resources, have taken a severe beating. And in addition to just the storms, there has been some adverse weather that has taken further effect on our beaches, our waterways, our mangroves, and our ecology in general. The fact that these permits are being extended to individuals to help them rebuild and help to speed along business in the marine industry, which is one of our most profitable portions of our tourism product, is great news for the community. We certainly appreciate everything the Army Corps is doing, and please make sure you take advantage of the extensions that are being given on these permits. Well, there's always stories that we don't have enough time to cover, but we like to try to give them some shine, and we have some good news out there and some great information for the community. First off, there is a Safety in Paradise workshop, a free air quality workshop that's going to be taking place. This is specifically for business owners in the territory. We know that mold and other hazards have been a problem, contaminants, and this can affect both your businesses and homes, but there's great information available. This will be taking place on Thursday, March 15th. It's going to be at the UVI Cell Center from 10 a.m. to 5 a.m. You're not going to want to miss that, and it's also going to be on St. Croix on Thursday in room 133 at the University of the Virgin Islands on March 8th from 10 a.m. again till 12 p.m. Also, FEMA is offering free consultation and literature on making your home stronger and safer. They want to help individuals prepare. Hurricane season is just a few months off. This will be taking place on island on March 7th, from 8:30 to 5 p.m. It's going to be at Food Center. They're going to have a lot of resources available for you to take place. That's on the island of St. Thomas. And then they're going to be at Kmart in St. Croix in Frederiksted on March 8th, again from 8 to 12. All day they will be there answering questions and giving you advice on home improvement. And then we have one last story about University of the Virgin Islands students, 3 of them excelling on the national level. These undergraduate students emerged victorious after presentations that were judged at the annual Emerging Research National Conference in STEM on February 22nd through the 24th. This event took place at the Marriott Wardman Park in Washington, D.C. 19 UVI students were there among over 800 students that attended from colleges and universities across the country. 3 students from UVI's College of Science and Mathematics were Tahira Durant, Janique Nicholas, and Quinaya Joyce. Duran won first prize in the category of cancer biology for her poster presentation titled T-cell immunoglobin and mucin protein 3 involvement in galactin-9. And these students have done great. Joyce also won first prize in nanotechnology, and Nicholas won a prize in chemistry. So congratulations to those UVI students for a job well done. Well, that is it for tonight on News 2. We thank you for joining us and making us a part of your evening. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm Leslie Camisian. Have a great Virgin Islands evening.